All right. That's pretty nice. Oh, whoa! What? We didn't even start yet, and we have 9 likes here. Wow! Welcome, guys. Welcome to Thursday's live stream. Seems like you guys are hitting that like button before I even begin, which is again amazing. I have no qualms with that. Thank you, guys. Hey, what's up, guys? What's up? And Lovey, thank you so much for your comment there. I'll see you tonight as a reader. But if anyone who's new here, if you guys don't know what Lovey's talking about, we do have a CFO Stream Watch report that you guys can get every single weekend, every single Sunday night. And if you guys are interested in becoming a reader for that, make sure you guys DM me on Instagram at chartsfocus1. If you guys do, I will have a 50% off discount code for your first 30 days. All right, so make sure you guys get that opportunity to just join us and see what we're about, and obviously to really just get more insight into the markets and just see how I analyze the markets and how I can provide you really great guidance, to be honest, and just a very good and simple, clean way to navigate through the markets. But yeah, let's begin. So first of all, before we begin, as you guys can see on the title here, I said the Fed cut rates, and where does NVDA go from here, right? So can NVDA go to 130 or back to 130? But before we talk about NVDA, we'll be talking about rates. So yesterday, the Federal Reserve has officially cut rates, which they haven't done since 2020. And since they began increasing rates in March of 2022. And so it's truly a historic moment. And if you guys have been following me since last year, or even last year, you guys know that I have predicted that the Federal Reserve will be cutting rates somewhere right before Q3 or during Q3. I know a lot of you guys have seen me say that, but I specifically said that last year in August. Right, August of 2023, and that officially occurred. All right. Oh, whoa, 11 likes now. Wow. Thank you, guys. Thank you. That's awesome. So, it seems like they are ready to continue to cut rates. Now, yesterday, the number one thing that I really wanted to see, and I mentioned this on Tuesday's stream as well, so make sure you guys watch that, that the one single thing that I want to see is if they are confident in starting a rate cut cycle, right? On Tuesday's stream, I specifically made sure that the first official rate cut is completely different and distinct from a rate cut cycle. And yesterday, Jerome Powell hinted at that, right? Because he told us that the Federal Reserve members, including himself as a chairman, was confident enough to consider more rate cuts in the near-term future. And they also have an end goal, right, of how many rate cuts that they want to do, and also specifically where they want the federal funds rate range to be at by the end of this year, right? So, excuse me, guys. So, what does that mean for the last 2 FOMC meetings, right? So now that we've gotten kind of an official confirmation from Jerome Powell himself, and also all the other Federal Reserve members, well, I would say 11 other Federal Reserve members, because there was one dissenter who voted not to cut rates by 50 BP in this week's FOMC meeting. And so I think in November and December, we'll get another 25 BP rate cut. And then December, we'll also get another 25 BP rate cut. Again, if you guys remember from early this year and late last year, Jerome Powell was specifically concerned that they're going to keep rates a little bit too high for too long. And so now that they've dipped their toes in the water here with their first rate cut of 50 BP, I think they're going to continue to see if they're able to continuously cut rates by a modest basis points of 25, and they'll keep that up for the rest of this year and see how that affects the overall economy, right, inflation, and the labor market into the next fiscal year of 2025. right? So I don't know if they're gonna start pausing in the next year's, early FOMC meetings that they have, right? But all I know is that they will most likely continue to cut for November and December. And I'll be providing a lot more details on what I truly think about that in next week's CFO Stream and Watch report. Again, if you guys want to become readers, make sure you guys DM me on Instagram at ChartsFocus1 or simply use the link down below. There's a lot of different links down below. It's pretty self-explanatory, so make sure you guys take a look at the description box down below. Okay, so with that being said, 12 likes, wow. Thank you guys. Seems like this live stream and the overall channel has been growing really quickly the past couple of weeks. Like I said, on Tuesday we hit 400 subscribers and now we're at 406 subscribers, so thank you guys so much for that. You guys deserve a clap from me there. So with all that being said, okay, there's now this debate between 25 and 50 BP, right? So they're saying that, hey, the Federal Reserve has cut way too much for the first official rate cut, and they might not cut in the next couple of meetings, right? But here's the thing. This is what I told my members, my CFO Stream and Watch readers on Sunday with this week's report. I said that it just doesn't matter, right? It doesn't matter if they, cut by 25 or 50 BP. Why? Because interest rates, right? The benchmark interest rate or the federal funds rate, they're both synonymous, are way too high still, right? Even if they do 25 or 50, it won't bump it lower significantly. Right? And that's the reason why, that's one of the major reasons why the market has hit a new all-time high today, right? Dow Jones, the S&P 500, obviously NASDAQ is still lagging and small caps, but overall the benchmark market, which is the S&P 500, has hit new all-time highs. That was the clear reaction. So in that perspective, right? In that perspective, I've also told my readers on Sunday night through the report that if we did see a potential 75 BP cut on the table, then I would personally be a little bit worried, because why are they trying to cut by that much at these current highs, right? Where we've been holding for nearly a year, right? So, or I believe it's like half a year, I believe. So, to me, that would basically tell me that the Federal Reserve is not confident in what they're doing so far, right, with their tightened monetary policy, and they're not, they need to quickly pivot because something is about to happen, right? Maybe inflation comes back up, right? Maybe we start to see more price instability and, just prices just continuously coming back up from these current lows. Or they're worried about the labor market. But as I've explained on Tuesday night as well, right, the unemployment rate and also jobless claims have plateaued already, right? They're flatlining now. So, it's everything seems perfect right now for the current conditions for the overall economy, and the Federal Reserve again is still confident in where they're at right now in their current position, because they can still pivot in a comfortable manner where they can pause in the next couple of meetings if they wanted to, or they can cut again, right? This is where they are at now, right? Again, remember that back in July, Jerome Powell specifically said that the overall Federal Reserve members agree that they are not going to increase rates any further, right? They have reached their target range for now, and they will keep it that way. And that's what they said in July, right? So with this official rate cut, today we got the most movement from rate cut sensitive sectors and groups, right? So like, for example, I've been talking about this for the past couple of months, right? Biotech, or just overall small cap and mid cap stocks, right? So all these stocks that are, well, another example will be home builders, right? Home builders, I've also specifically talked about that in this week's report as well. So again, if you guys want to read this week's report, you guys need to become a member. Okay, so make sure you guys DM me on Instagram for the full details on that to receive your 50% off discount code for your first 30 days. So, we saw today the leading groups kind of struggling, right? We saw like, SMH, right? Semiconductors and software, right? They kind of pull back later into the day, right? IGV, right? Software. I've been showing this one a lot. So they've kind of, well, they've held their gap ups, but they kind of have a weak close, right? Just like the S&P 500 with a nice doji candlestick today. And so what was really moving was were like, you know, XBI, right? Biotech. And obviously biotech didn't end too well due to, well, biotech is always short. There's a lot of shorts on biotech, but you know, we saw a lot of great breakouts that are being held throughout today's price action, and just overall bullish sentiment was basically there, right? It was there for most of the entire trading day. And so when we're seeing all these underlying sectors and groups really starting to move in favor of this 50 BP rate cut, it really tells you and kind of hints at the fact that there will be further rate cuts by the end of this year, right? And not just from what the market is showing us, but basically what Jerome Powell said and what the other Federal Reserve members have been talking about during their 2-day deliberation, right, from Tuesday to Wednesday. Okay, so let's segue into NVIDIA now, right? The main topic of tonight's stream. So hopefully you guys understood that, and again, I will be providing a lot more details on just the overall rate cut and what environment we're in right now, from the economic standpoint, from the labor market standpoint, and from inflation as well. So if you guys want to read that, make sure you guys become a reader tonight. So you guys can get also this week's report as well, right? I talk a lot about rate cuts and obviously the home builders as well, which I mentioned earlier too. So if you guys want to read that, make sure you guys become a reader by DMing me on Instagram at ChartsFocus1 to get that 50% off discount code for 30 days, for your first 30 days. All right, it's a great opportunity here. So NVIDIA or NVIDIA, all right, whichever you guys want to say. So no discretion, well, discretion, not discretion, but no disclaimer. We do have a position in the video, right? I did catch this bottom too, personally here, but now we have opened up a new position here for NVIDIA. Why? Well, I believe that we can come back to at least 130, which was a previous major resistance level as seen right here. All right, so let me make it red here. Okay, hey, what's up guys? For everyone who's just joining in, I talked significantly about, well, specifically about the markets and what we should be expecting. So make sure you guys watch the replay. As always, I say this every single night, but for anyone who's just joining in now, make sure you guys watch the replays, the recordings of these streams. It's really, really important. It's imperative that you guys do that if you guys have just joined in now. All right, I always hope that you guys can catch that replay before tomorrow's trading day, right, or the next trading day. So now with NVIDIA, now why do I think NVIDIA can go back to 130, right? Well, specifically the level is 130.50, but I want to keep it simple to 130. Well, first of all, you know, NVIDIA does have its current problems, right? So if you guys didn't know, the most kind of quote-unquote hyped up product that NVIDIA is currently manufacturing and trying to send out is its Blackwell graphics processing unit, or GPU, as you guys might know, right? GPU. So this is kind of the new AI chip that they've been touting, right? The most powerful GPU out there. But they did have some production issues, but based on its recent quarterly earnings report, which was back in August 28th, they did hint that they're going to be, you know, trying to just ramp up a production of these Blackwell GPU chips in the fourth quarter of this year, and ultimately reach their target, well, quote-unquote target goals by 2025 and 2026, but most importantly by 2026. So you know, this is kind of the most anticipated GPU out there for NVIDIA, and it's one of the, you know, again, one of the most powerful ones out there, apparently, right? So, well, you never know if any other major semiconductor companies like, you know, Taiwan Semiconductor, like TSM, or maybe even Intel, who knows, right? Obviously, Intel it has been taken to the back of the woods there, but the competition is getting there, right? So overall, NVIDIA still reigns supreme for AI chips. The demand is still there for NVIDIA. So we will continue to look at this name from a longer term perspective. But for now, from a TA perspective, from a technical perspective here, we are seeing a nice turnaround. Why? Well, first of all, if you take a look at the weekly time frame, right? This is a massive wedge that we've been forming here, right? Now, from a stage analysis perspective, I know some of you guys use stage analysis, but if I were to use that, this may be a little bit of a warning sign that we're seeing a lot of volatility at its current all-time high areas, right? So obviously, that is a precautionary sign that you need to be watching out for. But since there is so much demand and just the company seeing some great forward earnings multiples as well, this company still might be cheap, to be honest, right? And they've been showing some really great numbers and just phenomenal growth from the fundamental perspective as well. So with that backing up technicals here, it's kind of hard to try to imagine that this is the stage 4 of its current consolidation, where it's making this nice, very big macro wedge chart pattern. But again, if that does, if it is indeed the case that this is a stage 4 for NVIDIA as it's consolidating at highs, but in a very volatile manner, then it is what it is, right? But again, on top of that, a wedge chart pattern is a neutral chart pattern, which means that it can either break out to the upside or to the downside as well, right? So it can provide either of those breakouts in a very good manner as well, right? A very good breakout to the upside or to the downside. So, and I see you guys' your reactions there with your emojis. Thank you guys. I was trying to mention it earlier, but I didn't want to lose my train of thought. Hey, 14 likes. Wow. There's a lot of people in here tonight. Thank you guys for always hitting that like button down below. But anyone who's new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button, and on top of that, once you guys hit that subscribe button, hit that notification bell so that you guys do not miss out on these very important and very applicable live streams. But on top of that, don't miss out on any of the other videos that I do upload on this channel. All right, so back to what I was saying here, NVIDIA with this massive macro wedge, it can at the minimum, so this is a realistic profit target for NVIDIA since we do have a position. We're currently holding vertical debit spreads, okay? And we will be adding onto naked calls if we do see the price reacting in a more favorable manner for us, so to the long side obviously, but from a realistic standpoint, if you were to break out of this wedge briefly, at the very minimum, break over this descending resistance trend line, we can at least retest 130 and at least make another, yet again, lower high, right? Since we've been making lower highs, and that's ultimately what created this descending resistance trend line. So even if we do hit this 130 horizontal level, or specifically 130.15, we should be hitting and making a new lower pivot high point. And that's all I want to see. All right, so this is a very realistic target. I'm not calling for, NVIDIA to 200 or something, right? I don't want to see that. But I don't want to be too idealistic there, because that'll be great. But from a technical standpoint, a revisit back to 130s, especially when the markets have been moving up higher, and especially with NASDAQ, right? Overall tech names like semiconductor and software names sort of lagging behind here, truthfully. Frankly speaking, there's a lot of room for these leading groups and just overall market leaders to catch up to the rest of the benchmark market, which is the S&P 500. So with all this in mind now, again, NVIDIA, there's still a lot of hype around it, obviously. I mean, who wouldn't be hyped around a company like this? That's literally leading the revolutionary AI trend, I guess. Or not even just a trend, but it's quite a, I guess, paradigm shift is what's occurring with the overall quote-unquote human evolution in this world, right? So it sounds very sci-fi-ish, very idealistic, but it's essentially occurring right now, and NVIDIA is at the center of this entire AI revolution. So they're powering, they're literally powering the AI revolution. So it makes me wonder if once we start getting into more of the quantum stuff in the next few decades, in the next 2 to 3 decades, is what I would predict for us, for humanity, tech-wise. I would believe that NVIDIA will also become kind of the forefront of that, I guess, second revolution, right? You know, we have major legacy companies like IBM, even Google, I guess, like you guys can call it a legacy company, investing into you know, quantum computing, which will again be the next step after AI, and they're trying to integrate AI with quantum, and NVIDIA can still be the forefront company to literally power up the AI and quantum revolution at the same time. So who knows, right? So again, from that standpoint, that's a bit more idealistic and a bit more speculative. But for us, currently, right now, NVIDIA has room to go to 130. Yes, there's a lot of overhead supply now since we've been making this very volatile price action, and quite obviously, it's quite a volatile consolidation compared to the consolidation that we saw earlier this year before we broke out, and obviously before the stock split here. But this is a very good consolidation that we saw from middle of 2023 all the way up into January of this year, and then we obviously saw that big breakout into February, and obviously the rest is history, right? So obviously this is getting a bit more volatile now, which again is the reason why I brought up the stage 4 analysis there. It might be the fact that we are about to enter into that stage 4 breakdown, right, where we see some very volatile price action, and then we break down into that stage 4 phase of this very massive move to the upside. But currently right now, I would say it's in stage 3, but again, I'm not too worried about that. But if we do lead into stage 4, where we have that nice waterfall move back down, where we get that typical, you know, I'm sure you guys have seen this in multiple momentum filled stocks. If you guys didn't, let me just show you, right? We had a very explosive move up higher, right? But during that moment, we kind of make a nice left shoulder. You guys might be knowing what I'm about to say next, but and then eventually, during that volatile consolidation near all-time highs, we make that head. And then eventually, if we do break down from this wedge here, specifically for NVIDIA, to the downside, we will be making that right shoulder during that stage 4 breakdown, and we get that nice move down. All right, so we get kind of a hilltop here, or mountains, these 3 peaks, or what we like to call a head and shoulders bearish chart pattern. So this is essentially what could be occurring. I'm going to have this in mind for the longer term perspective, but again, we're going to focus on the current technical analysis here, the current technical environment that we have from NVIDIA. And so far, last week's candlestick was amazing, as we had a nice pivot, and obviously pivot from this ascending support trendline that we just began to make. And so as long as on this weekly time frame, we're able to hold over the weekly 10 and weekly 21 SMA and close over it. Now, before I move on, if anyone does not know my SMAs here, my daily 10 is my red line here, and my daily 21 is my light blue line. Well, excuse me, weekly, since we're on the weekly time frame, but all of these lines are the same on any single time frame. But as long as we're able to close over both of these 2 SMAs, we should be setting up to, well, I guess a good word will be rocket. Rocket up higher to 130, right? I really don't mind if we do end up with a nice inside weekly candlestick like we've been making now. Again, what is an inside weekly candlestick, or an inside candlestick? Where, well, basically it's the highs and the lows of the current candlestick is within the previous candlesticks highs and lows, right? So it's not able to overtake the lows or the highs, and it's just staying in a very tight price action, and just very tight price volatility up and down during this entire week so far from NVIDIA. So again, so far NVIDIA attempted that breakout from this small micro bull flag that we made here. Okay, so this is what I got out of NVIDIA. I believe it was on this day. Yeah, no. I think it was Thursday of last week. Yeah, Thursday. So I captured this entire move up, right? So from around, I believe it was around like slightly below 106, and I went out around 118. Okay, so this was a pretty good swing trade, but now I want to see if and kind of make sure that NVIDIA has the legs to continue to make a second leg up higher from this low point and continue to make a nice zigzag, typical textbook uptrend price path, right? So this is essentially what I'm seeing in my own mind, and I want to give you guys this drawing here, this price path drawing. But again, this is the reason why I've said NVIDIA to 130. Now, lastly, on top of this, there's more. I actually saw some end of the day call flow in NVIDIA. That's right. There's still a lot of call flow coming in, and in the past couple of months as well, during every single one of these dips that we saw in August and this month, we saw a lot of put sales, right? A lot of put contract sales and very, very long-term buying for the calls, right? And so I think we saw a huge amount of calls being bought to, I believe, the October expiration, which is perfect because excuse me guys, because I currently do have NVIDIA for a longer term. So if there's a lot more shorter term traders out there that have immense amount of buying power going into the October or even November expiration dates, that's great for me, for someone who has the December expiration contracts, right? So it's a little hint there, guys, for the position that we're holding for NVIDIA. So for those specific vertical debit spreads that I mentioned earlier. So today we saw that late day call flow coming in of I think it was a big buy here. Let me actually look it up. It was someone moving their contracts, their contracts from the October expiration to November, and it was about like, what was it, like 43,000? I think it was like 43,000 contracts. They rolled up into the November expiration, and I don't know the exact strike. I don't believe I've seen that, but I wouldn't be surprised if it's targeting somewhere around between the current closing price of right now, so let's say 118 just to round up, all the way up to 130. All right, I mean, this is not idealistic. It's not speculative to think that the price will come back up to retest 130. Right, I've repeated this throughout this stream tonight, but again, I truly believe this, right? And if option flows are now seeing continuous put sales during these bottoms that we saw in September and August, well, this month of September, and on top of that, we continuously see some very good call flow and obviously rolling up of contracts into later dates. That gives me more confidence that, hey, maybe this momentum run is still not over yet, and we do not have to worry about a potential stage 4, again, if you guys do stage analysis, phase occurring for this stock, right? And hopefully this very volatile, again, truthfully speaking, this very volatile consolidation is not a stage 3 where it leads into that overall move down for that stage 4 breakdown. Okay, so that's kind of my overall analysis on NVIDIA. Does anyone have any questions? But yeah, guys, there's a lot of short puts on NVIDIA still that are still open. They are not closing yet because I don't know why they would. They're still collecting premium. Very, very nice. But on top of that, again, we have that amazing call flow coming in from NVIDIA still. So that's literally been restless for this entire year for this ticker. All right, we continuously see the dips being bought every single damn time. All right, and so I don't think it'll be any different this time around. I know that's a saying. That's usually the opposite happens. But hey, when you have the call flow coming in and obviously the put sales, the short puts on NVIDIA, on top of that, that really gives me confidence in the longer term perspective as well. Not just the short to mid term, but the actual long term perspective, especially into 2026 when NVIDIA is set to reach their production goal for their Blackwell chips, right? Their Blackwell GPUs. which is again supposed to be revolutionary, right? All right, so that's pretty much it, guys. And if you guys really want to become a reader of the CFO Stream and Watch report, like Lovey here in this chat tonight, make sure you guys DM me on Instagram at ChartsFocus1. You guys can get a 50% off discount code from me for your first 30 days just because you took your time to DM me on Instagram. Okay, that's my offer for you guys. Okay, and again, it won't hurt to try. We have so many important, but most importantly applicable information, and you guys might be thinking, well, is it better than the live streams? Yes, most definitely. I'm only giving you guys the surface level information here on the streams, but still, I'm still giving you guys the most important information on these streams that are imperative for you guys to be actually able to apply to your trading, right? I've always said this, right? So if you guys want that in-depth research that I do, that I always do every single week, every single Sunday night when I send out the report, make sure you guys become a reader. You guys will not regret it. All right, well, that's it for this week. Thank you guys so much for showing up to the stream. I mean, the overwhelming support is absolutely amazing. This channel has been growing exponentially for the past couple of weeks. The growth has been insane. So again, thank you guys for even hitting and that like button and subscribing as well. And if you guys are new here and if you guys liked what you heard, please leave a like down below. If you guys didn't, you don't need to, that's completely fine. But if you really are truly new here and if you guys really found all this information helpful, and also it made you a bit more curious as to what we do here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button. And on top of that, if you guys want to stay on top with what we do here with the streams and any of the videos that I upload, make sure you guys hit that notification bell as well. All right, so with that ends the stream for tonight and for this training week. I'll see you guys next week on Tuesday at the same time as always, 8:30 p.m. Pacific Standard Time or 11:30 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. Have a great rest of your night and good luck tomorrow.